Everybody, welcome back to the channel. Another domain review here as we keep working our way through the Kanasi and the first section of that. So today we're actually getting our first Anshe realm, one that's been alluded to in the last few videos. And that is the realm of the Sphinx. Now we'll have a separate video for the Sphinx as an Anshe in and of itself, so stay tuned for that. So naturally, as you might expect from an Anshe realm, not available for PCs. It is considered chaotic evil. Rather massive too. Just a huge amount of provinces there. And also some with actual population, right? A couple ones, twos, and threes, basically. Then also a few unpopulated ones. So the details here. The Sphinx, a powerful Anshe, rules a desert realm. Naturally, makes sense. Most of his domain is empty steppe, but gnolls and bandits inhabit strongholds throughout the area. Law. So in the Sphinx's lawless lands, the strong rule the weak. The Anshe's authority extends as far as the reach of the hands of the Sphinx. His human agents, the Kurseti Alif. The creature wants to build his realm of marauders into an organized state, but these unreliable humanoids and brigands are not the stuff from which one forges nations, as you might expect. Temples. The Sphinx suppresses organized worship, destroying any priests who try to gather congregations. Most people assume the creature perceives temples as a threat, but others see a more sinister purpose. Rumors claim some priests among the Kurseti Alif worship the Sphinx and the realm's resident felines. More on that later. The hands of the Sphinx control most domain trade. Raids and efforts of a local guild add to the realm's income. And then sources. The Sphinx, a formidable sorcerer and warrior, has created a network of ley lines, several throughout there. Something if you were looking at the domain level of conquering the Sphinx, and the territories eventually, you have tons of ley lines there, so good for a wizard character or someone in need of more ley lines or sources for their wizard lieutenant or something like that. So the ley lines all the way across the face of the open steppes and wields near complete control of the magic there. The sorceress Adara bint Reshud, which she does have that little sword, actually it's a sizable source there, of Shufal, has challenged the control of the borderlands. The Sphinx hasn't responded to the situation yet, but give it some time. Now, as far as resources go for the DM and this realm, huge, right? Tons of regency generated and accumulated. Treasury also pretty sizable for a, really somewhat unpopulated but also unorganized realm of, brigands and thieves, right? 25 gold bars or so. Many believe the Sphinx has a hoard of treasure in his ruined palace in Irbuda as well. Again, could be fun for a PC raid with the party, whether it's just an adventuring group as the characters, or maybe one of the PCs is a domain ruler or multiple rulers, and they decide to go maybe try and rid the region of the Sphinx. Now, rather than taxing his subjects, the Anshe demands tribute, which earns him 12 gold bars per domain turn. Nothing to sneeze at there. Plus a little bit of limited guild activity, right? The Sphinx's followers are cutthroats and outlaws. Any militia the beast raises should be treated as irregulars instead of a levy, though, so a little bit more formidable. Gnolls, goblins, and humanoid brigands make up the creature's military units, so you got 4 to 10 units remain active at any given time. DM's discretion there, but so not an easy one to invade as it might appear, because it's not so organized, right? No, there's actually a fair bit that the Anshe itself has at its disposal, plus its own powers as well. And then it does also have a standing bodyguard of elite infantry at Irbuda, so one more thing to deal with, right? Now, we do get a little bit of the stats here, but again, more in the actual Anshe video. So, level 12 wizard, pretty big bloodline there, 47, neutral evil. Has ruled the region for hundreds of years. Early on, it lived as a marauding beast, preying on local villagers and passing caravans. However, over the last century or so, it's chosen to expand its domain and become a true regent. Few outsiders meet the creature face to face. It prefers instead to deal through its lieutenants. Although the Kanasi consider the Sphinx quite intelligent and articulate, they all know of its murderous bestial rages. So, speaking of lieutenants, cats of all kinds serve as minions of the Sphinx. The Anshe's nature links it to these mighty predators, from savanna cats to lions, and no feline can resist the monster's command. Association with the Sphinx has raised a few very rare savanna cats to semi-sentient state. They basically become the Anshe's eyes and ears, so basically sneaking into the realm is going to be virtually impossible aside from magical means. So not like someone could just send like an assassin there and hope to have any success. Human or humanoid servants of the Sphinx don't live long, or live to serve him long. Sooner or later, they displease their master with fatal results. Now, one exception is the leader of the Korseti Alif, the mad priestess Tuara Min Mesir, level 9 priestess. She's chaotic evil, but worships the Sphinx. And she often acts as the official spokeswoman. Most of her hands are warriors or thieves. Few are priests. The Sphinx's subjects live in fear of these agents, never knowing which neighbor might turn out to belong to this mysterious group. However, they remain only a rumor outside the realm, so not really well known outside. Not many people would be wandering in and out, in either case, to really gain knowledge of that. So something that might come as a surprise to PCs should they enter the realm. They should really, at all times, be watched until they figure out maybe a more stealthy way of getting into the Sphinx's realm. Other important NPCs. The strongest of the tribes that follow the Sphinx is the Yezdaga Gnolls, a brutal band that raids nearby lands from a stronghold in the Maid Tarvai. They follow a powerful witch chieftain called the Yezd, level 6 fighter. This brilliant warlord conceals his dreams of displacing the Sphinx, right? Yeah, definitely don't want that to get known. The Sphinx would certainly wipe out anybody thinking of betraying. But and really, there should be more of those too, right? So you could come up with some things for goblins, etc. So lots of little, I think, initial domino pieces should a player want to attack the Sphinx's realm would be whether it's at the domain level and fighting some battles and taking over territories, or sneaking in and trying to have some adventures. But again, it's going to be hard to infiltrate without being noticed. But that would be some of the things to maybe start taking away some of the support structure that the Sphinx does have. There's also a Voss warrior druid named Yuri Ilyich, level 7 fighter, level 8 druid, so pretty formidable. Wanders the northern reaches of the Sphinx's realm using spells to contest the monster's control over the great cats. His solitary guerrilla war has wreaked such havoc that the Sphinx's northern lands, or in the northern lands, the Anche has actually placed a 5,000 gold piece bounty on his head. But that would be one where like-minded players might gain a valuable ally should they be able to learn of the druid and cultivate some sort of contact and friendship with a sort of mutual goal of maybe ridding the area of the Sphinx. And again, could be a worthy quest to also just get that druid on your side with the aim of the Sphinx really is disrupting nature and everything else, and really should be taken out for the good of everyone at multiple levels. Now, the land itself is basically just patches of arid badlands with desert, basically. It's most inhospitable part of the Bayer el Tahara. So just, it's desert, and then some badlands, basically. Once the Basarji domain of Irbuda stood here, but the Sphinx's depredations forced residents to abandon the city-state hundreds of years ago. Only criminals and the like choose to live in the Sphinx's lands. The creature tolerates a few hill tribes and herdsmen, but only felines and other true followers of the monster really feel at home here. In recent years, though, the Sphinx has greatly increased the strength of his armies by demanding fealty from hill folk and nomads. The Anche can muster thousands of desert warriors on top of all the goblins and gnolls. Again, huge potential army there. And basically just do that at will, although even he has trouble keeping the peace among the rival tribes. But again, a frightening thing should he be able to sort of get that ironed out and make these disparate groups of creatures work together effectively. That's always the downfall of them. But also could just deploy them in different areas, right? Keep them separated, and you've got potentially 3 or 4 very powerful factions to deploy as military forces. The capital, as noted above, the Sphinx uses the ruined city of Irbuda as the seat of power. According to legend, he destroyed the city-state himself as long-planned revenge for a forgotten slight. Again, we'll get more into the history when we cover the Sphinx itself in the Anche video. Trade goods, there is some. So the raiders produce little. Many live well on booty from raids on neighboring provinces. However, the Gudaya Koster, a local guild based in Sendur to the northwest, has begun making inroads into the Sphinx's domain, but limited to trade. Naturally, as an Anche domain, no allies. Enemies, there's always going to be those, right? Basically everyone who's not an Anche. These days, the Sphinx focuses attention on expansion into eastern Bensada. He bides his time, though, until the Queen of Bensada reveals a vulnerability he can exploit. it's not really going to happen. Certain tribes in the western Tarvan Waste have harbored great ill will against the Sphinx since the oh my gosh, what do we got here? The Carnegawan massacre, in which the Anshe gained 3 Tarvan counties in the area's bloodiest skirmish ever. So we'll cover that more in the Tarvan Waste video as well. But yeah, the Sphinx has had some expansionist tendencies, and really could be frightening should the Sphinx really like focus and really use those resources at his most effective disposal, right? Potentially a very large army of disparate factions, right? We've got goblins, gnolls, humans, etc. Who knows if there's anything else? Probably certainly could summon like a lot of the cats, like lions and stuff, right? Would be frightening. Maybe not as like an actual army unit, but different raids and stuff like that, or just other attacks. So there's a lot there. Plus, when we really dig in and deep dive into what the Sphinx is capable of itself, then the prospects are truly frightening. So it's a nasty customer. We'll get there in a couple of videos as of this video. So I think we still have the Serpent before we get to the Sphinx. So, but we're getting there. But really a potent threat for the area, and again, just physically, as far as the geography goes, huge domain, right? And then we have some of the other ones like Aftane and also the Tarvan Waste. Just a lot of adversaries in this Plains State section here, but makes for fun campaign goals, right? Ridding the world and area of the Sphinx would be a huge boon, and really you stand to gain a ton of provinces. Obviously, there'd be a ton of cleanup to do as well to make it more habitable, but tons of resources. And again, if there's a wizard character out there that you can cultivate an alliance with, there's tons of sources available. Or if your character already is one, you got a lot there, but plenty of opportunity, but also a deadly foe that should prove a real challenge in different levels for players to overcome. Let us know if you've used the Sphinx in any of your campaigns, guys, what you think of it as far as the domain goes, and how did that work, and what kind of campaign did you build around that. Let us know in the comments. Be sure to like and subscribe, and we'll have more Birthright for you soon. And also, if you want to support the channel even more, check us out on our Patreon. You get videos like this usually about a week early, including some other exclusive D&D and Birthright and content among some of the other games that we cover as well. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.